Hey, hello. Out in the rain, just trying to get a quick walk in for the day. Actually, wasn't going to walk, not even going to tell a lie. Can't lie. Wasn't going to walk, but feeling an overwhelming sense of, I don't know, sadness, I guess, come over me. Rainy, gloomy day, but that's not it. Don't actually mind a rainy day. Sometimes you just got to pause right in the middle of your day and not to reflect. I don't need to reflect. I know where I've been, but to, pause and take a breather from life, from the world, from everything else. And this one's a hard one to record for me today, actually. And the last one I recorded, I'm in the exact same spot of when I felt like the freaking earth was going to crack open and take me in, and later in the evening end up being an earthquake. And this is exactly where I was. I was on this lower ground, and you can see in the video that I'm like looking around, but I recorded one before and I couldn't even use it. It was just so, but some days it feels like the earth is going to open up and swallow you up, and they come like, so if you've ever previously been through, moments of feeling depleted, defeated, all of those things, which I know each and every one of us have, because we're human, then you know what it's like to feel like you're just coasting, you're just doing well, and then all of a sudden just one little thing, one little word, one little trigger, one little obstacle that gets in your way, and you just feel like you're just going to be like, and that sadness arises. Well, it happens to the best of us. It happens to me, and and I'm pretty advanced in where I'm in my journey, but it's a real realization. And I heard myself say something today that I have not said in years. I said, I feel like I'm a failure. And that's not language that comes out of my mouth anymore. And I don't know where it actually came from, and I don't know what brought it on, but I felt that deep inside of my soul when I said it. I could feel the echo of something like a drum, like where are you right now today, and what is holding you to that. So I thought about it for a moment, and I got up and I went to the kitchen and I started making my stuffed potatoes for supper, and distracted myself for a little bit. And I'm a little bit of a kitchen witch when it comes to that stuff. I like to put my love into something that takes my attention away, and so I did. And I took my attention away for a little bit, and then I sat down, and a song came on that really hit home. And it was, of course, a very powerful song. It was a Reba McEntire song. And so when it came on, it was just like randomly just start playing on my computer. It just really made me feel that sense of, sometimes sometimes you can't see your way out. Sometimes you can't see yourself through the obstacles. Sometimes you can't. And our solution, and you've heard me speak about all this, your solution is bigger, than your problems. There's so many more options and solutions, but sometimes the solutions that you have to use, or the solutions that are going to be needed, are going to come at a large cost. They're painful, and they remind you of previous situations and where you have been. And when you're in those positions, or you're in those spaces, there is a real true sadness. And I like to speak of real things that does come up. And, we don't live in a world full of sunshine and fucking butterflies every day. It's not possible. It's not real. And if you try to, then you're living in a glass house and one rock will shatter it. And so I don't live there. I live in a real world, in a real house, and a real existence. And the past is dead. So this is where I am today, and I'm facing something that I'm going to have to really look at my solutions, and really look at life, and really truly contemplate what my future feels like for me, and peace. As someone hung their head up, I'm like, that's funny. Just hang your head up sometimes. And so I'm like, I don't know where this will take my future. I don't know where my future will go. I know how I want to feel, and what I have happening right now doesn't feel like anything I want my future to feel like. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. And so as I'm exploring that, I realize also that there is a joy in my heart that I would not have had a year ago, 2 years ago, even like 10 years ago for sure, where when I was in these situations, I would feel totally fucking defeated and lost. And I don't feel that. I feel defeated in a way of saying, okay, I have done everything in one way of searching for solutions. I've done everything in my power to contribute to the world. I've done everything in my power to do the good things. I've done everything in my power to be the person that I am today. And now everything else is out of my control. And everything else is out of my power. And the other things that have to be done will be, may lead to some changes in my life and some changes in my future and what my future looks like. And so sometimes our destiny and our destination are not the same. And sometimes we're faced with looking at our lives that we dream to be, and our dreams and our childhood dreams. And I always say, look at your childhood dream and you'll really see what it is you're seeking and searching. And it's not the actual picture, it's what it felt like to be standing in that. So that sense of empowerment, the sense of feeling good about who and what I'll be in my future, something of that is not in my today's. And it hasn't been in my today's for a while. And that's where I started walking, was to let my life go through a transformation. And I'm sharing this because I want you to know you're real. And I want you to know that your challenges, they don't define you, and you're not your challenges, and you're not your challenging times. You're not your fall downs. You're not your obstacles. You're none of that. These are all things that are happening in our real world, and I'm not everything I'm facing. I've come to realize, I'm still, no matter what I have to face, I'm still that good, kind, generous person who I've come to really recognize in no matter what form I'm in, no matter what body I'm in, no matter what my world looks like. I'm very aware who and what I am. But life changes things for us, and life changes us. And I find myself now letting go. And this is an ultimate letting go. I don't know what's coming next. I don't know what the future holds for me. I don't know what it looks like. I just know I'm not here to compete with anybody's lives. I'm not here to compete with what anyone else is doing. I'm not here to begrudge anyone else of growing and shining and becoming. I think it's beautiful. I think we should all be able to rise, shine, and exceed in our lives. And hi. And sometimes, you're just not there. Some people are just not there, and they look into everyone else's, mirror image to create their future. Leaves you competing and jealous and attacking and doing those things. And no, what I'm saying for me is not about what anyone else is doing. It's because I have spent a very long time in creating more than existing, and looking into my life and into my world and into numbers, into YouTube numbers, into life numbers, into Instagram numbers, and into the content and the time we spend putting out. And there was a word that came up today, and my dear friend Lisa, I sent her a message, and I'm like, I don't know why investment wouldn't be there, but I know right now in this moment why it's there. So Lisa Richard, I love you. and there was a reason why. And so what I recognize is, and as I look forward to my future and where it's going, is there's a lot of investment that I've done into kind of projecting onto myself and doing the healing work and becoming the person who really points out my role in my life and my responsibility. And then I come to look at, the investment back in, and not all things align. And so when all things don't align, you realize you've got to do something a little bit different. And that's where I am today. I'm here to now do something a little bit different in my day, something a little bit different in my life, and take some good looks at my future. And I just wanted to share these things with you because not in a way of, hey, look at me, but in a way of look at you. Where and what are you investing into that is not aligning, not matching? And for me, one of them is the amount of hours and time. So basically, the amount of hours and times that I spend in trying to fill up social media with hoping that it resonates with somebody, hoping that it helps somebody's day, hoping that it helps someone's life. And then a real truth to that it's sometimes not feasible, or it's not serving, and where I'm watching my life and how I'm watching my life unfold is those amount of hours that I give is not returning back. And this is for all my beautiful souls who do our work, and we show up and do what we can in the world, but we're just in a stagnant place, and a place of change and evolution and evolving, and having to really make some serious changes and look at directions and paths. And I'm just looking at all the wood, and I have no idea what just happened here, but something caught on fire. And I'm like, I don't know. This would have only happened since the last time I was in here. This is just below where I felt the other energy. But anyway, the world, so sometimes your world feels like it's crashing open. Sometimes you feel like you're breaking open, or the world is swallowing you up. And all of these things are about evolution. It is about evolving. It's about growing. It's about looking at your investments. What you're investing into, is it serving you? What's serving you? And are you seeing any return in your investment? And seeing people heal, seeing people grow, seeing people live better lives definitely helps. Definitely. But there's a real reality truth that us who love to give our all have to really look at too, that there's a business end, there's a financial end, there's a real world that we have to grow in, and sometimes that's affecting us. Sometimes we're on the end where we're facing some of those things. So I just wanted to talk about reality, real truths, and I'm going to, and just, I know a lot of people in the world are in situations which we're waiting for miracles and waiting for things to happen, and our miracles are just not probably going to come the way that we thought they're going to come. Our miracles may have to come in the way of letting go of our pride, of the part of our pride that thinks that, I would never want to screw anybody over. I'd never want to do anything wrong. I want to take full responsibility for all of my stuff. I want to pay everything off. I want to do everything. And not always going to come that way. And sometimes you got to swallow up that pride. And sometimes you're going to have to eat a little bit of your own crow feathers. Sometimes you're going to have to pull back. Sometimes you're going to have to peel back. And sometimes you're going to have to look a little bit deeper, because when stress is starting to eat up your joys of your day that you've worked so hard for, there's something of a return coming into your life that you can't let happen. You can't let unfold. So sometimes taking that breather, taking that walk, and the reason why I do these walks and I just talk is that this is the stuff that happens in my head. These are the conversations that I have with me each and every day, and I'm sharing the conversations I have with me with you. So they don't always make sense. They're a little out there, but that's how our head goes. And you got to rise above the thought. And so during these walks, I rise above my thoughts. I get really, really clear. And sometimes I'm afraid, not fear, not false evidence appearing real evidence, real truth, real shit that's happening in life that you have to put your big girl panties on or your big boy pants on, and you have to do the hard stuff. And sometimes you have to really do the hard stuff, and also then be willing to sometimes feel like you may be disappointing yourself, or you may be disappointing others, or you may feel like you are failing people. But if you're failing you, and if your life, if things around you are not working, it means it's not that it's a failure. It means it's failing to provide the adequate needs that we need to feel at peace or to be living in the existence of our virtuous life. And we start to return to the vices, I call them, the unhealthy habits that we didn't even know were unhealthy until we started to awaken to a truth. And so when you feel yourself starting to return to those, when you feel yourself start talking to yourself like you haven't spoke to yourself in years, when you feel yourself feeling like you're being swallowed up by the earth, when you feel yourself, running, avoiding, neglecting, you look, and in reality, when you open up, your accounts and you open up your analytics and you see a lot of negatives instead of positives, no matter what account you're looking into, you realize there is something that has to change. And I'm not even gonna lie, I have those moments and I have those times and I just had to walk through the statement that I used on myself earlier about feeling like I'm a failure, and talk through every bit of this conversation that I'm sharing with you today, so that maybe you feel a little bit normal, so that you feel like, I'm not the only one, no matter how advanced we are, no matter what we've done. And it really saddens me how, we have people who wait to see us fall and fail in this world. We sometimes don't want people to have that satisfaction of knowing that we're not succeeding, because, they're waiting to eat you alive. They're waiting to take what you have, or waiting to gossip about you or talk about how you're failing. But hey, fuck it. I've been there before. Not my first experience with that. So it is what it is. And because I don't look into what other people think or say, but I look deep into what I say about myself, because I can't be my enemy anymore. And I hope you don't be your enemy. And I hope you're kind to yourself, and I hope you recognize that everything that you're going through, you're not alone in the world. Anything that's happening in your world, you're not alone. Anything that we're existing in, you may just need a shoulder to lean on. You may just need a space. You may need to just listen to this crazy video and think, what the fuck is Corey talking about today? Okay, now I feel okay. And just know we all have battles, and we all have these moments when our heaven feels like personal hell. And when it feels like a personal hell, that's when you need you more than ever. So it's not about quitting. It's still about solutions. but it's about also being able to have the courage to know we're strong enough to make some of the tough decisions, some of the tough choices, and not try to stay powerful and strong, or stay trying to be a number one or on top of the world while it's eating you alive. It's about letting go, giving it to God, putting it in God's hands, and then having the strength and the courage to look at some of the tough solutions that brings about the changes we need to make. As I just walk through the rain and back home again, it's only pecking now. Do know I love you, and do know I'm very appreciative of the love and support that I have. And as you will see some of my changes unfolding through my work and through where I show up and where I'm not. You'll know that I'm working on my changes, and not because I need to be a better person. It's because I need to transform into making sure that I never return to the life that once took everything from me. Never again will I go there. So I'll make the changes now. And as I look down, there's like a wooden butterfly in the dirt. And so you see, there's always a little sign of hope and transformation and beauty and awe. But yeah, just know that when you're in a moment, you're not going back. It's a moment that's right here, right now. It doesn't define you. It doesn't, it doesn't create you, but it gives you an opportunity to stop and pause before you take it all the way into your destiny, into the next part of your journey. I love you all. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.